Greetings, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Clayton, as you can probably see from the slides and from the announcer. Today, I would like to bring to you a topic that's very closely related to our magical brain. But speaking of brains, have you guys ever wondered if your brain can explode just from overthinking or just thinking in general? Well, I have, and I discovered that it can through first skull experience. Many changes are occurring in our planet, right? Be it politically or in terms of our environment. And during these times, have your minds ever wandered around making conspiracy theories? If you have, that means you overthought. But that's completely fine because 73% of 25 to 35-year-olds and 52% of 45 to 55-year-olds chronically overthink. But if you're a teenager or a kid like me who did some overthinking, that's fine too, because even board games like chess actively promote overthinking. This realization made me a little sad because I was no longer unique. When you're playing chess, you have to look at the entire board, at every single piece, and then you have to predict your opponent's moves and find a way to counter them all before it actually happens. It's basically a game of visualization and imagination between two people. But something that I personally experienced and something I believe all of you can relate with on a much deeper level is overthinking while facing the big boss of school life. Da-da-da-dum, exams. When you hear the word exam, you can almost hear the boss music playing in the background. You immediately become terrified and then you start preparing to the best you can. And even during the exam, you'll never feel confident that your answer is correct. Not even 1 plus 1. That's why, with all the time that we have, we keep rechecking it, all our answers again and again and again. Think about it. If we apply these chess techniques and our exam paranoia in real life, this is what we're doing: deep analysis of the situation, and we're deeply considering of what we should do next. Then we consider the problems through different angles. In chess, your opponents will never stick to one single pattern, right? So you have to look at the same board with the same chess pieces in the same position in many different ways so you don't get checkmated the next 2 seconds. And our exam paranoia, which is self-checking and reassessment, it can technically be translated as self-reflection if you apply it on yourself. This is what we get. This is the benefits. We get better critical thinking, better decision making, better understanding of the situations, less bias, which means we're less likely to judge things before we gain full information or sufficient information about the situation, and we gain more empathy because we understand more deeply, right? And our exam paranoia gives us continuous self reflection, which is the secret to human growth. But here's the catch: overthinking overwhelms our minds with thoughts, and that stops progress. Our minds continue to think, what if, what if, what if, what if? We forget what is. We are not present in reality anymore. To all you anime watchers out there, be grateful, because today I'm giving you another reason as to why your parents should not stop you from watching anime, at least some of them. In an anime called Jujutsu Kaisen, there's this overpowered character called Gojo Satoru. In a certain fight, he said, "Ironic, isn't it? When granted everything, you can't do anything." To me, this represents overthinking very deeply, because when you overthink, you try your best to analyze every single possibility that you know, and that causes our mind to be overloaded because we're mortal. Our minds have not been programmed to reach that level yet. And then when your mind gets overloaded, you might be unable to make a decision. That means you won't be able to take any effective actions. A Forbes Health article, which is expert reviewed by the way, states that while overthinking itself is not a mental illness, it is associated with depression, anxiety, irritability, eating disorders, and substance use disorder. The problem with overthinking, sometimes we cross the line of reality, which means we overthink and think about possibilities that only exist in our imagination. So we have to put a limit on it. We have to put a boundary to stop us from crossing that, both in direction and in time. Secondly, I suggest noting down what you overthink. I know. Boring old simple note taking. How could that help us? Sometimes the simplest of methods can give us the best effects possible. It's also complementary to my first suggestion, actually, since if you note things down, you can start to see when you start getting off track, and then you can steer yourself back on again. It's, in a sense, your boundary, your limit. The Adroit Journal also expresses that writing down your thoughts and feelings can clear your mind and prepare for decision making, help you deal with stress, and helps you take action, something I probably need every day. Surprisingly, as I was doing my research, I came across something that made me overthink about overthinking. And that is that overthinking is a good source to holistically fuel your creativity from thecreativegenius.co.uk. So this, I believe, reinforces my suggestion to note down what you overthink. It'd be a shame to lose all those creativity that your mind built up from days, right? So note it down. Maybe you can start making a story or something, something productive. This is my third suggestion. It's just a quote I live by, and that is overdo when we think and do when you overthink. It sounds weird, but hold on a sec. Overdoing when we think, that's something we do every day. Yes, it's something we do every day. More common than you realize. Remember all those times in life where you had to do something you're not really comfortable with or explore something new? That's overdoing because technically you're going beyond the bounds of what you would normally do. That's why it's new. And doing when you overthink is the thing. When you overthink, you analyze many possibilities and of course you prepare for it, right? You make some plans. Even if you don't have one, you have an initial direction of where to go. So you don't have to face the worst outcome that could happen to you. And since you already considered most factors, you can just follow along with your plan. So, to sum it all up, to use overthinking to our advantage, we need to do two things: set some limits and note it down. The third suggestion, you're already doing it, so it's fine. At the same time, life is the biggest stage in which you can ever perform on. And as the biggest stage, I believe it needs the most preparations you can have. While overthinking can give you mentally negative effects, the benefits it has and can give you is too much to be thrown away so easily. Better critical thinking, better decision making, more creativity, better understanding, better empathy, and less bias. These are all very necessary to be a better human in general and to increase your chances of survival. Benjamin Franklin once said, "Well done is better than well said." But we all know that something well done needs to be well thought out first. And overthinking, and guess what? Overthinking, it allows you to think things through very thoroughly. In a world where problems can pop up from anywhere, from the environment, from the people in it, and even from within ourselves, we'll probably need all the help we can get to live a good life, won't we? So, why exclude overthinking from your list of allies? Thank you.